board-certified life coach, trainer of 7 family strengthening programs, and certified substance abuse prevention specialist, Abbie Vianes.
So do I get to choose? The anxiety levels of American children today are equal to that of children in psychiatric institutions 60 years ago. Why is that? Parental anxiety is way up in our country, and that rubs off on kids. Children are watching way too much news coverage for their tender hearts, and parental high expectations hovering and rescuing. Rescuing sends the message that the child is incapable and needs the parent to solve his problems. The more a child develops a sense of mastery over his environment, the more confident, assured, and motivated he will be. So how can parents facilitate that? By giving the child choices and allowing the consequences to follow. Consequences are the best behavior changers. The price tag on learning goes up with age, so we want our children to learn while they are young and the price tags are small. Giving choices and develops a child's inner voice. If you are always telling him what to do, when to do it, how to do it, why to do it, he will only have your external voice, and he will not have formed his own in his own head. And when he gets to middle school and turns off your voice, if he has no internal voice of his own, he will listen to another external voice. Whose? Peers. So you are inoculating against peer pressure by giving choices. Choices teach thinking. Consequences teach cause and effect. We want children to learn consequential thinking. It protects them. Most dangers today come from poor choices. Consequences must be logical. The child doesn't finish his homework, his grade will suffer. He doesn't eat dinner, he will probably be hungry before breakfast. If he leaves his coat at home, he might be chilly. If he is using up parental time and energy by having to have parent-teacher conferences for misbehavior, he may have to do the work at home mom now doesn't have time to do. Punishment is not like consequences. It teaches very different things and can be counterproductive. Logical consequences feel fair, so children seldom fight them. In punishment, the adult imposes the sentence, whereas consequences teach the child decision-making. In punishment, the child pays for his deed, so the slate is clean and he can re-misbehave. But consequences help the child develop a new plan of acting or responding. In punishment, the child feels the imposition of power, whereas a consequence teaches a child about the real world. The key is empathy in giving a consequence, which is very hard to do when you really want to wring their necks. But your anger results in the child focusing on your anger and not on thinking and how to solve his problem. Consequences delivered with empathy and sadness over the child's poor choices maintains your relationship with the child. Take care to not destroy the teaching value that is inherent in the consequence by saying things like, well, maybe next time you'll listen, or this will teach you a good lesson. The consequence will teach. You maintain the relationship by letting the consequence be the bad guy, and you be so sad for your child's poor choice. If you don't know what to give as a consequence, use a delayed consequence to give you time to calm down, to think, and come up with something logical. It works very well. Just say, I'm going to do something about this. I don't know what it is right now, but I'll get back with you on it. And it's always fun to add at the end, don't worry about it for now. Why? Because we want him to worry about his decisions. One little boy was so bothered by his mother's delayed consequence that he kept coming to her over and over saying, Mom, what is my consequence going to be? What are you going to do? And the mom had to say, I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out yet, but I know it's going to be good. Finally, he came back with a belt and held it out. He said, okay, just spank me. So you see, Spanking is easier than thinking about one's poor decisions and the looming consequence. If you want to set limits with your children without waging war, use enforceable statements, thinking words rather than fighting words. How many times have you heard someone say, "Don't talk to me in that tone of voice," or "Don't talk to me that way"? Well, short of a laryngectomy, how are you going to enforce that? You can't, legally at least. But you can say, "Oh, my ears don't work with that kind of talk. Catch me later when you can be respectful," and walk away. Instead of telling the child what he can't do, which causes resistance in fighting, tell him what he can do. Feel free to go out and play once your homework is complete. You may join us for dinner once your room is clean. We'll clear the kitchen at 6:30. Or tell him what you will do. I'll start dinner as soon as the kitchen is cleaned up. How many times do parents end a directive with, "And I mean it," and the kid is thinking, "Let the games begin"? Start your sentences with, "Feel free to," "You are welcome to," "I'll be happy to." It feels so much better and is more effective. My 3-year-old granddaughter, Alexandria, proved her mother's love and logic training. The children had been told that they could have ice cream as soon as they had cleaned up. The older two complied and got their ice cream. When Alexandria was asked if she had helped clean up, admirably, she told the truth, which was no. And now, as the older siblings are enjoying their ice cream, Alexandria is in her mother's arms, head down, her ringlets spilling over her face, and she is weeping. Her mother is comforting her, for we are sad for our children's poor choices. We want them to have the ice cream of life. Then a little index finger shot up, and the head popped up, and Alexandria said, "I have idea. I get treat when I go potty." So she wriggled out of her mother's arms and ran to the bathroom. The treat was not ice cream, but it was a treat. And that baby was so happy with her treat because she had solved her problem. One more story. A mother had an eye-opening experience with her 2 little girls, ages 4 and 8, who were out playing on the balcony. Mom had told them to come in for dinner, and they had not. And now Mom is walking toward the balcony, a bit upset, to call them again. And she overheard the 4-year-old say, "We don't have to come in yet. Mom hasn't yelled." Use enforceable statements, give choices, and allow consequences, and I promise you that life will be a bit smoother and calmer with your kids. Thank you.